If y equals 2x squared subtract 5x divided by the square root of x squared plus 2, find the derivative dy dx. And now sometimes you'll come across questions that involve a combination of the chain product and or quotient rules for differentiation. So this question has a fraction involved, so we have a function divided by another function. So the overall rule is going to be the quotient rule that we apply here. And we'll also require a chain rule for differentiating the v, or bottom line of that fraction, when we get up to it. So to set up the use of the quotient rule, we're going to let u be the top of the fraction, which is 2x squared minus 5x, and the function v is going to equal the term in the denominator, which is the square root of x squared plus 2, which of course could be written as x squared plus 2 to the power of 1/2. So calculating the derivative du dx, that's going to equal 4x subtract 5, and then dv dx, that's going to take a little bit more work to calculate because we're going to need to use the chain rule. And that chain rule would say that we differentiate the inner function, x squared plus 2, which derives to 2x, and then we multiply that by the derivative of the outer function. So we take the power out the front, and the bit inside stays the same, and then we take 1 off the power. And now we can simplify that slightly, as this 2 can cancel with this 2, and the negative 1/2 can take this x squared plus 2 to the bottom line with a square root. So we can write this as x squared plus 2 square root on the bottom line, and then on the top line all we'll be left with is x. So that's a term for dv dx. Next, we're ready to apply our quotient rule. So the quotient rule says that the derivative d dx of a function u divided by v is equal to, and remembering that we square the bottom line and then write that straight away on the top of the fraction, and then v multiplies by du dx, and then we subtract away the opposite, which is u times dv dx. So we can do that for our question. So the derivative we are asked to calculate is dy dx, and that is going to equal, and then on the bottom line of the fraction we're simply going to have v squared, so that's the square root of x squared plus 2 squared, so that's just x squared plus 2 on the bottom line, and then on the top line we have the square root of x squared plus 2, and then we multiply that by du dx, which is 4x subtract 5, and then we subtract away from that the function u, which is 2x squared minus 5x, and it is then multiplied by dv dx, which is x divided by the square root of x squared plus 2. So without going through a whole bunch of simplifying and finding common denominators, that is an answer for the derivative for this question.